And we're live. Welcome everyone to another session, or rather the epilogue of Werewolf, the Dark Ages, Sveriges Elite, where we are about to go through the final parts of the game, and we're gonna have put a little cap on the characters' stories here, and we're gonna tie everything to a neat little end. Last time where we left off was with all of the three of you sounding out a howl of victory as you had just defeated your greatest enemy yet and faced pretty much the biggest challenge of your lives up until that point, where you all uh, kind of realized the kind of prophecies and omens that the bear totem had laid on you. You all kind of went through this this trek of this kind of personal character moments and stuff like that. You having arrived to this point with Phil's character with the Red Claw realizing how this all led to Human Smoke and how Human Smoke almost rid One Fang of his loved ones, and how Curious Mind discovered Human Smoke to be basically just a pawn um, in the tapestry that her ancestor, the revered Shield Maiden, had weaved in front of everyone's eyes there. And we're gonna go right where we left off, as the battle had just ended with you sounding off your howls of victory there as you stood on the courtyard of the Temple of Malpheus, as during your battle you had seen the bear totem with Curious Mind's mother, North Star, riding atop of it, chase away the green dragon totem spirit, and the two left the entire realm of Malpheus to continue their fight elsewhere. And the three of you vanquished your enemy, and you saw his body crumble before you, and that's where all of you were left last time, with your allies down below in the spiral labyrinth, calling for everyone to fall back, and and with Curious Mind being the only person who had seen the true face of what had become of Shield Maiden. Um, no one else having stepped inside the temple, and no one else having heard any of her comments during the fight, and no one seeing really the chains that gave life to the fallen corpse of Human Smoke, with Shield Maiden's spirit in housing it, and you have no clear idea of what at this point became of Shield Maiden's spirit, as you have just decimated the corpse she reanimated with her spirit. With the three of you standing there, letting out your howl, and standing side by side with your closest brothers and sisters there, and being called to fall back, what sort of things would the three of you be thinking or feeling and wondering and doing during this during this time?
Well, I can tell you that Red Claw is going to be filled with elation and testosterone and fury now that she has vanquished Human Smoke with the help of her closest brothers and sisters in this combat of blood and fury. They have destroyed the foe, ripping it to pieces, bone by bone. The sinew that binds it together ripped asunder, and it lay before us a broken pile of defeat, and we stand there victorious, in its own realm, no doubt. She is filled with such a glow of victory, of proudness, not just in her victory, but rather in Curious Mind and One Fang especially. They've come so far, and they did it together. And that thought warms her in the inside against the pungent odors of sulfur that sting the very insides of her nose. The inhalation doesn't burn as much anymore, and she almost feels as if those wounds were swept away as she feels the warmth of the bear spirit within her. That touch of that most divine of things, enlightening her to her own destiny and finally realizing it. Such wisdom of the spirits, along with Eider Drake by her side. She feels oneness with Gaia, a oneness with her pack and brethren. And I suppose during this moment of hot blood washing away cold reason, now we can let the sense of doubt wash away along with it, an assuredness of the future ahead, of what they have accomplished. She's thinking about what they had done to bring everyone together for this one momentous occasion. And now she looks onward towards the future.
Okay, what about the rest?
Curious Mind will be coming down from a moment of euphoria where she feels that she's destroyed this stain on her lineage and this monstrosity, and the fact that she's done it with her closest pack members is for her icing on the cake, and she's just standing there, not really realizing yet fully what happened and what transpired. But she's slowly coming down from this howl that she let out from the depth of her soul. And now she's looking around, and she's starting to come back to her own senses, and she realizes that as big as a step as this was, this is just a step in a journey. So she quite quickly becomes centered again and looks around and starts to look up at the bodies, or the body hanging there, and she wants to find out if the body is dead, if there's no longer an essence there.
Yeah, it's rather clear. It's almost like when all of you grabbed onto it and tore it asunder into pieces. It's almost like, not visually, you didn't see an actual like ghost escape from its body, but it's that kind of a sensation. It felt almost like its last breath escaping its corpse as it was torn apart. It's completely like you can also see that the body is almost like decomposing at a fast rate. It's not like melting into goo in front of your eyes, but it's still like it's quickly turning into like this black and gray and kind of moss green, this kind of grayish green color and that sort of thing. It feels like it's gonna be ash within minutes.
As soon as she realizes then that from my every opinion, this is ended here, she wants to get out of this hellhole and just get back to her, what she considers to be a safe world and a tranquil one.
I hear. What about One Fang?
Sorry. One Fang, as he finishes his howl, he's not 100% committed to the howl as he was the first time they howled in victory, as he's nervous about the whole place that he's in. This is nothing that he's familiar with, nor does he understand at all. but he has a feeling of safety and strength, both because he has his two, closest pack mates next to him, and feels their strength, and the fact that their glow of their acceptance of the bear in them, and seeing them draw on his power, gives him a sense of satisfaction. Um, Maybe not a little bit of pride, but there is a hint of that in there, that he's maybe helped to bring them into that light, that strength, that balancing of wisdom and strength, that purity of that force, where you don't have to be one or the other. You can be both and still be pure. And with that, as he finishes off his howl, he kind of is breathing heavy, sweating, covered in God knows what kind of viscera and goo that's been all over the place. He begins to contemplate less as a werewolf and more as his other self, and images of Oxbear kind of pop into his mind, and then of Agnes, and then the humans, and then pretty much all the Pac-Men, Red Bitch and Dusk Light start popping into his head as he starts to just want to be close to everyone, and he doesn't want to be in this place anymore. And he's just looking for that safety. And then he thinks of the bear, and the bear. You remember the bear leaving, chasing after the worm, and he kind of looks over at Red Claw, who seems, obviously she seems strong and powerful, and she's standing there. And then he looks over at Curious Mind, who probably kind of at the same time catches his eye as they both kind of link up and feel that they want to leave. They kind of he kind of nods to her in a motion to, maybe we should leave this place. I don't want to be here anymore.
Any minute we stay here is too long. Let's leave.
Agreed. And with that, she turns around and begins to run towards the rest of the pack, with her mates following behind in suit.
Okay.
As I follow Red Claw, I'll probably it'll probably is Curious Mind aware of the fact that Oxbear is dead? I don't think so, right?
No, actually, yeah, that's right. You don't.
Oh, okay.
Well, Curious Mind might pick up. I think we were going to do the same thing. I run up. I don't try to pass Red Claw like I normally would. I just run right up to her left side, and I run just behind her, as if following her.
Exactly.
So you might notice something different from me, maybe.
The same thing goes with Curious Mind. She'll probably indeed fall in like in this V formation with Red Claw, and she'll find that it's oddly soothing that to not be alone, but to be with her pack members, and to just follow this strong warrior, and it feels comfortable.
Yeah, all of you are pretty much riddled with new, fresh battle scars. Your bodies all the way through. With one fang's whole side of the face being mangled up, with Red Claw having her sides as well as her front of her chest and all that lacerated, and with Curious Mind getting most importantly, the blood trickles on top of the headdress that are on top of your mother's bloody paw print, so that you have both your mother and your ancestor there, kind of going, kind of being carried on top of you, with you, and as all of you are leaving there and coming together with the rest of the group is already like ready to fall back. Everybody kind of in this tactical maneuver type to start to secede from the temple's close surroundings there, and you can see that here and there are different werewolves in the group who are very badly wounded. There doesn't seem to be any casualties. Nobody's dragging like a corpse, but there are those who are just like holding an arm, those who are like have their arm around someone's shoulder and that sort of thing. Like there's some of them have gotten licked really bad during this during this fight, but it doesn't seem like there's any casualties, especially since One Fang mentioned that he was keeping an eye out so that there wouldn't be any casualties. You feel like you haven't like left your post or anything when you engage in the fight with your packmates there. And as everyone has gathered together, the gates, the fabric of reality gets torn open again. The gauntlet gets ripped open, and everyone again gets to exit this horrible, hellish realm and find themselves back in the near Umbra, where everything looks almost like a night sky filled with stars, with the stars also coming in close enough where they look almost like, pebbles or something in the sky that you can tap into and discover new realms and stuff if you know how to tap into them. So it's this kind of black, white spotted area that you've returned to, from where Steel Cave will open a moon bridge back into your back into your garden. And as everyone is back together, there's you notice that Dusklight, for one, hasn't gotten any wounds on him at all, as he's spent the entire time on atop of the mammoth spirit there. And Red Bitch also doesn't seem to have anything beyond surface wounds. And everyone seems to be in more or less fine condition, where they, after just kind of resting and healing up, they'll be just fine. As all of you walk your way back through the moon bridge, there's already lots of celebratory, gestures and sounds being let off. There's lots of howls, lots of growls, lots of chatter having to do with this celebration atmosphere of glorious victory, and lots of different totem spirits, mostly Fenris, being cried out, and as the entire group arrives back into the cairn, there is immediately everyone gathers around the surroundings, the kind of edges of the center space of the garden there, where normally moods and such are held. And Curious Mind will see, while all of you arrive there, as well all of you, but for Curious Mind it's news that there is Oxpear's body is still waiting there, and his body is laid there in this kind of a neat, kind of half ceremonious way. There's nothing like been done too much to his body other than carvings on the ground around his body and stuff like that, but nothing much beyond it, where he just lays there like a board with his hands like that, and he lays there, and he's one of his legs is severed from the thigh, and he has also lots of like sword size puncture wounds all over his torso there.
The
he's
Red Talons
like,
were here as well, right?
What?
The Red Talons were here as well, right?
Yeah, everybody arrived together.
Yeah, so during our journey back, I'll probably notice the fact that there are people that I don't know, and probably quite quickly will learn that these are Red Talons, and I'll thank them for their help, and I'll show them gratitude for what they've done.
All right, there will be very positive reactions to this, as this very short event really felt very much like this kind of bonding thing, where as soon as everyone's thrown into battle and everybody has to rely on the guy next to them, lots of little things like, what tribe are you when you're fighting Banes? quickly sheds, and it's almost like as soon as you're removed from that danger, people kind of remember, oh yeah, that's right, we're not friends type of thing. It's like so there is this kind of that clearly feels like it kind of shattered a lot of like it broke a lot of ice that need to be broken, between the two tribes. And when you go around, expressing your gratitude and all that for their service and help, the reactions are all positive to your end.
Good.
Okay, but yeah, as all of you have arrived back to the Cairn, you do notice that Oxpear's pale body is laying there with his eyes already kind of sunken into his skull, with dark, dark patches around his, eyes, and his lips already like blue and all that. It's uh, it, it's yeah, it's a cadaver there.
I'll run towards it and make sure not to get into the circle itself where the signs are made around him. But I'm in lupus form at this time, and I'll kind of run towards it, and I'll kind of lie pointed towards it, and I'll take a moment to remember his deeds and his friendship.
Okay. As you remember all that stuff, you remember good and bad things easily because he was also someone when you first arrived into the Sept, when you first arrived here, he was like an automatic fan. It was like he always was someone who had great admiration and respect for your mother, and by proxy, he also respected you a lot. The only times you can remember him really like being grumpy and kind of assholish around you were mainly when you and One Fang or Red Claw were there as well. So he kind of, if it was just the two of you, you could easily imagine that he would not keep something like that up, and especially since he was one of the ones who taught you all sorts of basic things about using your. He was the primary person who taught you about rage and about frenzying, about combat and fighting and all that while you were performing your rite of passage in the battleground realm, as different werewolves from your sept paid you visits every now and again to teach you things. So he had that kind of a mentor feel in a certain sense to Curious Mind as well. So yeah, there's lots of positive memories, even though you also, as the more late memories of the past few days, have mostly been about him kind of moping and being kind of grunty and all that stuff. It's
Even that actually gives me maybe even more solace and maybe more gratitude than the positive memories, because it makes clear to me that nobody's perfect and that he's just, he did his best and he tried what he could, and it was probably just a mask that he was wearing to be, in his opinion, a good leader. And it's just, it makes me feel good that he tried so hard.
What about Red Claw or One Fang when everyone arrives?
Red Claw is going to approach slowly behind Curious Mind as she is in her Krynos form, and as she does, she'll walking almost like that of an ape-like approach, with her knuckles touching amongst the ground as her shoulders waft, and the front of her chest is matted with blood as the fur kind of just hangs off in certain places as clotted blood hangs off, and the sort of like grotesque jewelry in certain ways. And as she approaches, it sits down next to you, and her head down low. After a few moments of silence, turning to you and saying, Curious Mind, Ah, yes. I forgot to mention that. He was slain when you had disappeared, when you were spirited away. It was the occultist that got him. The humans with swords of fire. He had saved me, and I was there during his final moments. And then from there, she kind of has a 1,000-yard stare as she thinks over again those final words that he said in his delirium, the admittance, leaving
He died the way he wanted.
I don't think it was the way he wanted to go.
Didn't he want to die in battle?
He wasn't fighting. He was trying to heal my wounds when he was taken by surprise by the enemy.
That's even more noble in a way. Trying to protect your life.
For a moment, she kind of looks down and then back up. Yes. Yes, that is.
Have others died? Agnes, is she alright?
Agnes, she is fine.
Good. I'm happy. The child is alright as well?
Yes, as far as I know. And then you'll see one thing. You'll notice that her gaze will fall upon you.
Yeah, one Fang just had silently crept up on the opposite side that Red Claw had sat next to her and sat next to Curious Mind, and just kind of like just reached up and put his arm up on her and was just listening to your conversation. And you look over, you just see him absently staring off into the darkness, not really paying attention, just probably just I guess lost in thoughts of everything that's going on, unable to completely process everything. So he did kind of look over when Agnes's name and the baby was mentioned, but you answered quick enough, so he just let it go. And then he kind of almost just pulls his knees up to his chest and then just kind of leans up against Curious Mind.
Breathing gently, I just sit there and just take in the moment of us being here and honoring our old friend.
Okay. As everyone is having their moments and kind of remembering different things about Oxpear and all that stuff, um, the leaders of the Sept, Steel Cave and Good Death, who are pretty much the only elders left now, um, will call upon everyone, and they will let out. They will kind of direct everyone to let out a howl together, a howl of victory, just like the three of you let out after both victories up in the temple's courtyard. And as everyone joins in the howl, you can see that first all of your Sept members join in on the howl, and you can see that with a little hesitance, first Dead Beast joins in on the howl, and then the rest of the Red Talons join in as well. And after after that, the Good Death then waves his arms around and declares that victory is ours, and praises the names of Fenris and of the bear, and praises North Star, and praises especially Shield Maiden's memory for the glorious victory that was attained this day. And he will declare that immediately uh, there will be a funeral hosted for the memory and uh, the honoring of their fallen comrade, the Garou that was supposed to take on the mantle of being the guardian of the sept, leaving his pack to the hands of his his word escaping my mind. His successor, his to be successor, and after that, a moot will be held, a sept moot, where all will join and heroes will be remembered, heroes will be sang about, heroes will be praised, and this day will live on in history and in song. And after that, as everyone gets excited about it, and also very respectful about Oxpear's body being there and all that, the scene kind of shifts into this ritual of Oxpear being buried next to Pale Dread's body in the grave at the side of the Longhouse island where the Sept keeps its base at the Glen. He will have a grave dug up for him, and he will be laid in, and Steel Cave will conduct a ceremony, a ritual, speaking about all sorts of sacred spiritual things, and different people will tell different memories regarding to Oxpear in a positive kind of light. One of the stories that gets mentioned is how he got his name when he first started in the Werewolf Society there, and his authority was immediately put into question, and his first reaction was to spear the hell out of the bullhead pack member who yapped their mouth at him, and got the name of Oxpear for spearing a bullhead. And all of you are also kind of invited to share stories and such about Oxpear as the ritual ceremony goes on.
Do I know if there's going to be a ritual of cleansing, so that the body goes pure into the ground?
Yeah, sure. It's part of the whole thing there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure. So yeah, there's no need to separately to perform any exorcisms or anything of that sort. And his body won't be buried with any kind of worm taint on it, so no problem. No.
I'm thinking about doing something, but I'm not sure if it's proper werewolf etiquette. Because this is pretty much his moment and that sort of stuff, and I don't want to steal his thunder or anything, or his final thing. And I don't know if it's the werewolf thing to do, but I'm thinking it is. So if not, please let me know, and then I'll just we'll say it didn't happen. So as I stand there and I kind of do a speech about him, and bring back memories of that sort and that thing, and I tell him how much I've learned about from him about fighting the worm and being strong against it. And one of my first moments where I truly used his skill in combat that he taught me, where in the battle realm this thing came at me and I just casually jumped off a cliff, holding its head and just crushing the thing under my paws and that sort of stuff. And I say that, and we were such an example of the fact that any worm taint that might fall upon us needs to be taken out and needs to be destroyed. And I'm doing this as I'm holding this speech as I'm in my Krynos form. And as I kind of finish my speech, I bring my claw towards my eye, and I'll say, and as such, in the realm of Malfium, a drop of tainted blood fell into my eye, and as my mentor taught me, taint needs to be ripped out, and I just pluck out my eye, and I throw it on his body.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. No worries about werewolf etiquette or stuff like that. That's just damn. Yeah, you could have just made some sort of a ritual to drive away the worm taint, but that worked as well. That worked as well.
That's why I wanted to know if his body's going to be cleansed and if my eyes are going to be there, then it's going to be fine. So I just
Well, as you do that, as everybody's kind of emotions are high, and that's a pretty theatrical thing to do, a pretty dramatic thing to do. So, you pretty much catch everyone's attention, and pretty much all around the board, you can, there's a couple of faces that you could read as this kind of what is he, crazy, kind of thing, but the great majority is like holy shit, she's dedicated to fighting the worm type of thing, where you're willing to tear out your own eyeball, I mean, that's changed, so it's this kind of like shit, it's very impressive to a great many of the werewolves, especially those out of the other packs. The Red Talons didn't really know you at all. They didn't have too much, first impressions of you or any kind of misconceptions about you. But both Screaming Eagles and Bullheads might have had perhaps misconceptions about you or something because they haven't interacted with you all that much yet. So seeing this, kind of takes them back, and they're like, damn, nobody's really saying anything to that. There's gasps and there's stern, admiring faces, within the group. So yeah, definitely. It hurts like a son of a bitch, of course, but yeah,
I'll draw back to my own pack members, and I have my eye closed, and I'll just stand there.
Red Claw, during that whole process, began clenching the ground in painful awe of this feat, and you'll notice that the ground beneath her claws is just thoroughly crumped up as her hair is sort of standing up and her eyes are wide, and it's not in grotesqueness, it's in a mixture of admiration, but also, of course, 'twas an eyeball that was ripped out, of course, and it was there's a cringing feeling.
You guys have no idea about the Shield Maiden thing. If that droplet of blood would have somehow made Shield Maiden's presence inhabit Curious Mind's body in any capacity, that's an extreme measure, but still, better be sure than sorry.
Yeah, I mean, One Fang is just in shock and awe. He almost runs up when he sees her rip her eye out at, but he stops, remembering this is about her and has nothing to do with his feelings. He waits. When Curious Mind comes back, he immediately draws on his gift to the bear to start restoring some of the healing to her eye, to at least close the bleeding and the wounds from her. I mean, it's not a clean rip, so maybe make it look a little better than what it should.
Red Claw will then approach afterwards, and then begin to pat you firmly on the shoulders. A wide, wolfy smile of elation stretches across her face. I hope you are cleansed all the way, my friend.
This is only the first step.
Okay. What about Red Claw and One Fang? Is there anything you want to do with Oxpear's burial or anything like that?
Red Claw will approach, and she'll kind of kneel down, and as she does, she will kind of grab a bit of the dirt from that burial, kind of just play with it in her paws and hands, reminiscing upon those memories, good and bad. For all that it was worth, she had never expected him to go out this way. For her, she had always expected to meet him in a one-on-one combat for a contest of leadership. But to be cut down like this, and then for him to be cut down while trying to save her, and then his omittance during his final hours, those final minutes, it brings a new perspective to her mind. And for once, as was before, she feels a sense of forgiveness. And she lets go, and lets the dirt fall from her fingers onto the ground, as well as a few tears, as they form up upon the sides of her head and trace down the sides of those fur and falls into the ground. Forgiveness for all those times that it was okay and that all will be well.
And what about One Fang?
At first, One Fang seems to just wait and let someone else go up, and then sort of takes his time, almost as if he's not going to go up, but then decides that it would be too much of a dishonor not to go up and say anything, so he goes up. And he gets, as he gets there, he turns to the crowd and, as everyone knows, One Fang was a great warrior. He was more than that to me. He was a father figure, a leader. He was the one who brought me into the pack when he didn't have to. He's the one who gave me my name, and with that he points at his missing tooth from when he hit me. He was quick to laugh, quick to drink, and he was quick to war if it was needed. And though now we did not always agree, I think that he was on the right path, because his power, he drew power from the bear, and the bear spirit wouldn't answer his call if he didn't believe in him. And then One Fang kind of pauses, probably longer than he should, if he's just staring down at him. Probably for once in One Fang's life, he doesn't actually cry. He doesn't shed a tear at all. But he does stop, and then he lets out the deepest howl that he can. Whatever howl that is a sign of respect and power. And he does that not just for himself, but for Agnes, who can't be here. And with that, he just heads back over to his packmates.
All right. As everyone has kind of said their piece, the dirt gets placed on top of his body and he gets buried. And once the mound is built up, like a lot of the graves, pretty much all the graves had some sort of a personal item there as this kind of grave marker, and as I think it was in the earlier sessions that I mentioned that Pale Dread's grave had a dagger of his as this kind of a marker there. Uxpear's grave will have like a tree branch, like thick stick, being like thrust into the end of it, and from that will be like tied into the dangling bear totem, the claw that he always kept. Like I can't remember if it was around his ankle or around his shoulder, but he didn't keep it on his neck, but it was there, and that's there as a grave marker for you to whenever you wish in the future to pay him a visit there. And as that kind of ceremony is over, meanwhile, different spirits of that reside in the garden there have gathered all the material for the regular giant pyre of a bonfire that you usually have there when you have set moods and stuff. And as soon as everyone gets there, everyone gets called in there again, and Dusklight already kind of assembles himself behind his familiar kind of giant kettle drums there, and as he's kind of doing this little mild background kind of drumming there. Steel Cave and Good Death will kind of call everyone's attention once again as the pyre is lit, and they declare to everyone that not only the spirits that were with you on the battlefield and the ones that you honored will get their time in the sun during this gathering, but also all the brave werewolves, all the brave Garou that threw themselves without question into this fight, also will have their day in the sun. That they also will have their honor and their glory and their wisdom recognized. And as this kind of drumming is going on in the background there, everyone is kind of gathered in this excited way. Everybody's kind of expecting to get to party down soon, as they always do during a moot. But before the kind of celebrations and stuff begin, Good Death and Steel Cave call forward all the members of the War Hearts, and Dusklight will immediately like stop his drumming and look kind of like, questioningly a little bit, and leave the drumsticks there and come to the rest of his pack as all of you are kind of called forward, and
now with 5 members, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's only the 3 of you and Dusklight and Red Bitch at this moment. And you are called in as Cleoth's rank 1 werewolves, and the the two sept leaders, alongside with different common spirits of the garden that roam around always when you have gatherings, um, look upon you, and they list different accomplishments and honors um, that they recognize from your pack and from all the five of you, and they mention things like uh, your dedication to the sept, your integrity to your pack mates, uh, your tenacity to discover the truth, even though others around you were waving it off as no big deal. And they praise you also for tackling the enemy, rooting it out, and against the odds that your kind of surroundings and the people around you were kind of giving you a hard time with. Regardless of that, you also pushed through and you stomped out this menace, and you are declared as recognized as Fosterns from now on, as rank 2 werewolves, and everyone around you cheers, and everyone is getting ecstatic, and everybody's like real like expecting there to be like the party's going to kick off once this is recognized. And as this is recognized and everyone is looking upon you with this with a lot of like respect and such in the air flowing there. Also, what gets mentioned is the red talons, and as Good Death and as Steel Cave mentioned them, Dead Beast kind of steps forward, not to your level, still way behind all of you, but the red talons have all kind of clumped together into this group of their own, and the Good Death and Steel Cave addressing um, Dead Beast there, uh, give them a formal invitation to join the Sept and become brothers in their common cause, and leave all grudges behind. And 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 Dead Beast looks at his tribe mates, and looks back at everyone around them, and looks at the five of you, and especially at Red Claw, and Red Claw can feel Dead Beast kind of making eye contact with her, and kind of having this eyes locked kind of moment, and giving a smirk and a nod, and replying that the Red Talons would gladly take this honor, but only if they are allowed to integrate into the existing packs, as they still bear the scars of the war that they fought a year ago. And for this, just like with the Red Talons, pretty much all around you, the Screaming Eagles and their bullheads kind of look questioningly around everyone. But as Good Death looks upon them and their pack leaders, you can see like Good Death looks upon the pack leader of the bullheads. He looks upon the pack leader of the Screaming Eagles, and then he looks upon Red Claw. And each of those gave him a kind of a look and a mild nod. And finally, as his eyes come to Red Claw, expecting reaction or an answer.
There is a look of surprise, for she is not used to having one look upon her for the approval of such, and realizing the position that she's in, her eyes after they widen, she looks back at the red talons, back at him, and then nods.
And at that, Good Death will raise his arms in a celebratory kind of gesture and declare that that is indeed how it will go. That is how things will be. And at that, everyone starts to cheer, and the party finally gets to start. And Dusklight immediately goes to play his heart out with the drums there. Throughout all this, and also during this kind of celebration, what sort of stuff are your characters thinking, doing, feeling?
Before Dusklight picks up his drums again, I'll grab him and I'll hug him and I'll say, "Thank you, Dusklight. Your drums gave me the strength and the courage to carry on."
It's at this point he looks so ecstatic about everything that's happened and having been lifted into the rank of Foster. For the first time that you've known him, he's kind of lost for words. He just kind of looks like he's just ecstatic and nodding profusely, and kind of looking like he wants to get to his drums again.
I'll immediately let him go and let him go have his drum solo.
Yeah, he runs like like a little kid or something, to his drums, and he immediately just starts banging on them for all he's worth. And everybody around, starts to, this tribal dancing thing, and little by little, all sorts of feasts and stuff start to build up, and it turns slowly into a full-on banquet in the set there, and yeah, just like in a regular set mooch, like in the beginning of the game. What's Red Claw and One Fang doing?
Red Claw will glance up towards that sky, and a wolfy smile will stretch across her face, showing all the teeth in her maw. And she'll mutter to herself, "Look upon me now, sister. Look upon me now. I hope to have done you proud." Clenches her fist, raises into the air, then shouts with all of her lungs. A howl.
What about
As she walks tall.
What about One Fang?
One Fang, normally at any type of sept meeting or anything like that, normally just kind of hangs really close to Red Claw or Curious Mind. Just kind of stays out of the way. But this time he turns and kind of looks at Red Claw, sees her, and looks at Curious Mind and knows that they're close, and then he just kind of smiles at them and then walks off to meet one of the, what are they, Red Talons? Try to introduce myself to one of them and get to meet them, and so you're basically just trying to bridge the gaps that are there, probably as a Philodox should.
Yeah, that's very much just like when Curious Mind went to, thank the Red Talons for their efforts when you first left the realm of Malpheus. As you introduce yourself, you're again greeted very warmly and respectfully. The Red Talons that notice you and kind of start to hover around you, including Dead Beast, even the ones who have had to kind of swallow their pride also kind of realize that that all of you are together, you're strong, and and divided your all week, and at the end of the day, when something like this happens, neither of you can take on the challenge alone, and you need to unite. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
I think in One Fang's mind as well, I think he's the only one in the clan that hasn't caused anyone any blood. I haven't taken werewolf blood. I've never attacked a red talon. I wasn't part of the group at that time. So at least I can walk in any situation with them and be like, I have no blood on my hands. So I think that gives One Fang a little bit more strength.
Yeah.
Plus, he also thinks it's something that One Fang Oxspear would never do, and he kind of just wants to just do it, just to show him that you don't have to be the other way. You don't have to force the person to get drunk. You can offer him a drink, and if he wants to get drunk, he can get drunk.
Yeah, and all sorts of merriment and stuff is to be had with that. It's almost, it feels like a kind of a prelude to things to come in the at least hopefully in the future for werewolf tribes who all pretty much neglect to band together for a greater cause, and today, having dealt with and witnessed pretty much the first sighting of a black spiral dancer ever in Scandinavia, at least for your sept. It's kind of a grim kind of a show of things to come. So this kind of solidarity gives kind of hope for a better future for all of werewolf kind.
Yeah. Curious Mind is going to dive deep into the festival spirit of it all, and it's just going to do games and merriment with everybody, and just tossing food through the air and catching it and that sort of stuff, and just scarfing it down, and like a wolf drinking from ale and that sort of stuff. So she's just, well, she's probably going to have a hangover in the morning.
Yeah, you notice at one point when you're feasting there that the cuckoo bird has also joined in, has kind of noticed that there's a party going on, and has kind of arrived. And at some point when somebody's drinking and all that, he gets to say that I never drink wine and all that stuff. But yeah, it's the feast is going on there. What about Red Claw and One Fang regarding the rest of the evening?
I think for Red Claw, it's going to start off as a little bit of a somber exertion on her part. She's just going to take it in for a while. Remain a little reclusive towards the whole scene, just watching it, really. Letting everything kind of sink into her mind. And then with that, she'll kind of strode around and watching One Fang talk to some of the Red Talons, join him. And getting to know them and talking with them as she soon begins to join in to all the revelry and starts to dancing and stuff, jumping over the giant bonfire and such, and this rather exotic fire dancing, letting the embers dance around, singeing off maybe a few tucks of fur here and there.
Yeah, you will also notice that after a little while in the party, you already, as the leader of the pack, or at least recognized as the leader at this point, pretty much by everybody. I don't think there's anybody who would question having you as the leader. But as as the partying is commencing, already a dozen. A bunch of Red Talons, one by one, start to approach you to come to talk to you about the possibility of joining in with the War Hearts, and that also includes Dead Beast and stuff like that. And at some point, when you're biting into like a giant turkey leg or whatever, as a little piece of turkey skin kind of might fall off your mouth. Either Drake is right there to stomp it and grab it from the air and munch it into a fine pulverized dust. Um, and the party keeps commencing. What about One Fang? What sort of stuff are you doing during the whole party?
One Fang, I mean, primarily spends, like I said, a lot of time mingling with the Red Talons, but it's more not just working with the Red Talons to get to know them. I mean, that's my main goal, but to also spread to the other groups that I always stayed away from. I always stood with everyone. Just always seemed apart, and that's one thing that One Fang can't stand. He can't stand that there's like, why are the War Hearts and the bull heads or the screaming eagles, why are they not friendly towards each other? There's this rivalry between them, and he can't understand it. And he tries to maybe take some Red Talons over to the screaming eagles and talk to them, where he's never had a chance to get to know them. What makes them different from the War Hearts? Why did what offense did the Ox guys have against Oxspear, or the Bull guys? I don't remember their name. That he always thought less of them, even though they seemed strong to him. It seemed like a strong clan. So,
Yeah.
and then once he sees that, after a while of doing that, once he notices that Red Claw begins dancing, he'll go and he'll join her. Since that just seems like the right thing to do, and it looks fun. So if you could jump over a fire, then that's pretty badass. So.
Yeah. As you're, chatting with the bullheads and screaming eagles and such, it becomes apparent, of course, as you most likely have always known, that all this kind of little bit of a rivalry and this kind of one-upmanship and that sort of thing, this little grudge stuff between different packs and stuff. That's mostly due to the same reason that there are cliques in classrooms and stuff. It's very much not only people choosing the leaders they respect in terms of packs, but also shared history. The most of the time, the person who discovered and mentored you when you were first coming up as a werewolf, most of the time you stayed with the pack they were from in order to stay close to your mentors, and then you just kind of grow into that pack and the mentality. But the different packs have different mentalities. They have different kind of things they focus on. Perhaps the biggest being that they worship different totem spirits. Like if you're dedicated to the bear, and then you would go to the bullheads who all worship the bull, or go to the screaming eagles who all worship the Fenris. It's you would be kind of the odd man out, especially since their packs are like dedicated to these totem spirits. So there's all sorts of little things that create that kind of a tribal mentality, but they all respect and admire each other in the sense that they're all working for the same goal. They're all a part of the same clan, but still, still there's an air that it couldn't be like one single big pack at the end of the day. And if there was an entire new generation of werewolves without the whole pack thing, it could work easily. But these are learned things.
Yeah, I think one thing too. I mean, since basically he's trying to work on the fact that there's this band of brothers mentality of the battle that just happened, where we all work together and everyone is open to being around each other. That if One Fang can work on them now when they're open to it, then hopefully it'll stick a little longer, and then there'll be less of a divide later on. And maybe create some true friendships there that we just kind of never got a chance to create. I mean, how often we never see each other because we're in huge different areas, so it's hard to
And then
create
when you
strong
have somebody like
friendships.
when you've had somebody like Oxpear represent you when it comes to relations with the other packs, it's no wonder nobody wanted
Yeah.
to extend a helping hand or anything of that sort. So, so yeah. But yeah, everybody's enjoying themselves and throwing themselves into the party. Everybody's feeling like really like, the solidarity and this band of brothers thing, like you said, and everybody's kind of getting into it and feeling celebratory because uh, you've just conquered a huge obstacle and you've all worked together on it and you've got recognition for it and all that stuff. And um, as kind of a final thing for this night, the party, is there anything you guys would wish to do as the party starts to wane? Are you gonna stay there until the end and sleep there and all that stuff, or is there still something you want to do before we would kind of skip time a little bit?
Curious Mind will probably have a talk with One Fang. Being considerably intoxicated at that time already, she'll come up to him and say, "You, I need you to find me some guy."
Some guy.
Yes, like Agnes, only then like a man.
You do want? Oh, do you mean like a mate?
Yeah,
It
I
should
don't
be
know how
someone
it
that you
works with
like.
humans. Wolves are easy. It's just humans need, and I want both from wolves. I want both from humans.
Oh, this is a conversation that may take a lot longer than one night and what's left in my beer mug. Perhaps
I take
I
his
could
beer
tell you
mug
I
and
will
kind of
work.
start drinking out of it.
Oh, jeez. Yep. Yep. That's not. Oh. Oh my God. Okay. Well, curious mind. Let's put it this way. I will help you find, or at least they'll have to pass my perusal, and I'm sure Red Claw's discerning eye before they can even get anywhere near you. But we will definitely help you find someone that you think is appropriate. But I think when you find the person, it'll just happen. You'll see them, and you'll just know. That's what happened with Agnes and I.
I don't know what makes a human a good mate because it's with wolves it's easy. You just look at the wolf who is really strong, but humans have different things. So I just need you find me someone.
Uh, How about me and oh God, me and you? Maybe we can go to Vildmark and speak with Agnes. She might have a better idea of what a person of your stature would want. I don't normally look at men, though I can tell if they're attractive or not, but I don't know if that's what you're looking for in them. But I could definitely help you. It'll just take some time.
You are such a good friend. I grab you by the ear and I say, you are such a good friend. You will make me find a really good man.
After I have my head shaking back and forth by my ears, I gotta just kind of hug her close and pat her back and say, "We'll find someone perfect for you."
Okay, okay. Who can throw me that chicken bone into my mouth? I head off back to the feast.
And One Fang brings up his empty goblet, looks at it, just shrugs, and walks towards the nearest barrel to fill it back up.
All right. Anything from Red Claw?
Red Claw is going to head out of the moot area and head to those graves. And she'll stand there solemnly, watching, looking upon them in the quiet, furtive moment. And with that, glancing up at that starry sky and back at the glow of the set moot that is going on, the party that is continuing, and with that in mind, kind of reaffirms some vows to herself to be a strong leader, be a worthy leader, and to remember old friends.
All right. As a kind of a closer, almost like a final montage of the days to come. There there are times when the Red Talons, having done their best to try and integrate themselves into your sept and into the packs, and your pack having 5 new members in it out of the 15 Red Talons, 5 to each pack, and with Dead Beast being among the Red Talons to enter your pack. There are moments when of all of you hunting together in the woods, running together in the woods, uh, speaking to spirits together in the woods and in the Umbra. Of all of you taking the Red Talons with you to the mountain range of Fangaya to see the bear spirit, the bear totem there, and to meet uh, North Star there, who's on this multiple year long project of carving into this giant, obelisk style kind of stone, a werewolf runic carving of the battle between the bear totem and the green dragon totem. And you will show them all the things having to do with your life there, and finally, after much begrudging, you will convince them to visit also Lund, not Lund, Vildmark, and you will show them the human world closer up, everyone together, the whole pack. And finally, there will also be there alongside you when One Fang will have his firstborn be born and being brought to his arms, while the exhausted Agnes is there with with older women with her mother and other women of her family helping there, and with Agnes's with Hugo offering vodka to everybody for the new father there, and to his friends, and these 5 new redhead gingers that are now there, and One Fang getting to hold a perfectly healthy baby boy in his arms, locking eyes with seeing both Agnes and the baby in your arms there. Kind of see what life is all about, God damn it. And with that, I'll give you all kind of final words to say about your characters before we kind of put a storybook ending on this.
I do have something I want to add. During this time, I would like Red Claw to have like a thing where she, working in concert with Curious Mind and One Fang and some of the leaders too, to plant trees in the areas of battles that were between the Fenris and the Red Talons, to mark the occasion, the unification that has occurred, a remembrance of both fallen friends and what was once slain enemies and brothers and sisters. Now, these trees that are planted here, a symbol of that. A symbol of the unification.
And with that, also with the Red Talon's former territory, your territory will expand further north, and the areas with the slimy, sludgy mud and all that, that will be turned upside down, and also also kind of rejuvenated by planting trees and by destroying what's left of the pit and of all that, and everything gets kind of healed and rejuvenated and all that, and within like these are all things that happen like within the next 1 year or so. Yeah. What about Curious Mind and One Fang?
Should I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Go right ahead.
How much time would we speak of?
Well, uh, well, stuff like finding a mate and getting yourself pups. If we were to pick these characters up, I was thinking oh, don't get too much into that because we can deal with that in an actual campaign one day or something, if that ever happens. But so don't go further than let's say 1 year or something.
Oh, okay. She'll probably spend a lot of time getting to know her new pack members, of course, and in true Curious Mind fashion, she'll quickly make no distinction between what Red Talons are and what original Fenris pack members are, and she'll be just as playful and that sort of stuff around them. Probably a few of them will have to get used to it because they seem to be quite strict and that sort of stuff, quite military. So but that's just a running gag that keeps popping up, and she'll besides that she'll spend a lot of time with Steel Cave, and working on rejuvenating the land and that sort of stuff, and she will dedicate herself now fully to the bear, and she will hopefully get not a fang of him as a symbol, but a tooth. What do you call it? The thing you squash things with in your mouth. What is it called?
Molder?
Molder, probably a molder, yeah. So she'll have a molder, and she will actually place it in her eye she ripped out, and she'll have it there, kind of like this thing to have the bear close to her mind and that sort of thing. So she'll have this molder in her eye, and just spending a lot of time with Steel Cave and learning more about what it is to be a Surge, and connecting with the spirits and that sort of stuff. And she'll probably, in the downtime, learn Mother's Touch and work on that a lot.
Yeah, as a servant of the bear, you get that kind of automatically.
Yeah, but she wants to learn it as not just being able to do it once a day, but being able to do it whenever she wants to.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, if the werewolves didn't think you were kind of freaky when you pulled out your eyeball before, now that you're sticking a bear tooth into your empty eye socket, now everybody thinks you're okay. But yeah, okay, good. Those are good goals for you to aim for, and also this kind of working with Steel Cave and all that, and being fully dedicated to the bear and all that. It kind of feels like not only receiving a rank of Foster, but also kind of no longer just being a puppy who kind of runs around and being all curious and all that, but taking on like being at least like acknowledging greater responsibilities and tasks and stuff.
Definitely, and she'll also will try to, at least at certain periods, be more serious about things. convincing Red Claw to take the pack for walks through the Umbra and that sort of stuff, and spread her knowledge about the spiritual things, and not just be like, oh yeah, that of course that stuff happens, and she's trying to educate her entire pack about these things.
Okay, good. What about One Fang?
Well, a lot of One Fang's time's taken up with family now. I see him spending what little bit of time he doesn't, that he has away from the pack, obviously with Agnes and the baby, and we never really finished saying what happened to my uncle. Was he going to be killed, or was he just going to be imprisoned?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I I kind of forgot about that. But no, he was kind of placed under house arrest. He was the guards were actively being posted around the shack, and the wife of the lord of the town has approached One Fang and had kind of a private talk with you and kind of one-on-one in this kind of way of what should be done with him. Should we kind of take him to Lund to kind of be prosecuted, or should we kind of just chase him out to find his future elsewhere where he's not welcomed in this town anymore? Should he be kind of kept in a house arrest kind of type of thing where he's kind of a semi-prisoner there inside his own home and that sort of thing, or you're free to pretty much lay down the judgment call.
Hang him.
Yeah, I guess if One Fang has his choice, oh man. Yeah, I mean, exiling him, I doesn't think that makes any sense. He's about to say, because One Fang's so torn, he's about to say we can keep him like under house arrest and he'll watch him because he still cares for his uncle and he wants to maybe help him. He thinks that he can save him, and Red Claw had always pushed him for that, but he was so insane and he went after Agnes, and I have a child now and I can't be with them 100% of the time. I can't take that chance. So I think that he should be prosecuted in Lund, I think would be the best way. It gets him out of Vildmark, and then he can at least let if he's jailed there, I can actually go visit him there. They put him into the workhouses or whatever.
Okay. Well, after you've had that conversation, it doesn't take long for her to pretty much consult it with her people and her husband, and after a while, you will know that he will be that there will be a horse carriage for him, and he will, when he's taken out of the shack, he's almost like a Nosferatu type of, like, with his back hunched, with his fingers like stiff, and he looks withered, and he looks like Gollum-ish. He really looks like he should be like a bottom feeder in like a prison cell or something like that. But yeah, and he doesn't seem to. He does resonate pity in you quite a lot by his appearance, but at the same time, he doesn't bear any of the resemblance to any of the nicer memories you have of your uncle back in the day, sometimes, or something like that. Because you always remember him having like a color on his cheeks or something like that, and being opinionated and speaking his mind and that sort of thing, and different things. And now he's just kind of seems like this kind of the anger and bitterness and the paranoia and resentment and all this has kind of taken physical form around him, and he looks, he just he doesn't look that human at this point.
It's like he succumbed to evil. It just
Yeah, though not in far enough way where he would be like actually like a Nosferatu or something like that. But yeah, he definitely looks kind of withered and corrupt, kind of
Yeah, I mean, One Fang could never you can forgive him for everything that he's ever done to him, every accusation, every word he's ever said about One Fang, everything he's said about Agnes. Maybe even to the point where he could forgive him for holding her, prisoner temporarily, but he'll never forgive her for killing his mother. So, that's always the last thing that he remembers. And then he has that pain because now when he looks down at his hand, he doesn't even have the symbol of his mother's charm anymore. Now it's all cut and damaged by that piece of shit, Human Smoke, who cut the mark off his hand. So, yeah, but slowly the weeks, that was probably fairly quickly happened within a week or so of the celebration, and slowly he's put out of the back of my mind as probably soon after that Agnes probably goes into labor and has her child, and having to try to find a mate for Curious Mind, who seems to almost have forgotten about her wanting of a mate. Yeah, so One Fang spends a lot of time dealing with the children, with the child, and with his new family, and consoling Agnes after the loss of her father, which she never really had a chance to deal with that either. So there was some pain that after all the celebration that we had, I had to deal with. But that month or 2 months after that, it became a much better environment. And I think the town itself probably became a lighter, less darkened place with nobody accusing people of being witches, or you kind of get this weight of negativity just removed from the town when my uncle was gone. Whether they bring in someone else to take over the church or not, that's fine.
That's actually something that the wife, the lady of the that talked to you about your uncle before, will also approach you about if you are interested in taking up the duty of that your uncle had in the town.
Yeah, I could see One Fang standing there and standing outside the church, and just not wanting to ever enter that place again. Even though, in like from a certain point of view, if he's the religious leader in the town, then he can protect what comes in and out of town. There's a certain protection for the pack, I guess, that he's trying to decide whether is he capable of overriding that, protect the pack versus his own abilities, and he can't enter that. He can't. No, not anymore. He can never be that.
Okay.
He's so beyond that now. He's now, the bear is his god in a way, and that's where he wants to be. Gaia is where it's at, and they're not going to like that type of teachings.
Yeah, I hear
so he ends up refusing, but maybe if she wants, he'll do the searching out the person to take over.
Okay.
That way he has a hand in that. That way he can help pick, the person that comes into the town.
Okay, that sounds good. And also with you kind of, you losing your uncle and Agnes losing her father, it kind of through the tragedy of that, it also brings the two of you closer because it strengthens kind of the notion that that the two of you, each other for both of you is what you have left pretty much. Agnes has her mother, of course, and her siblings and such. But after learning from you about the death of her father, uh, it's strengthened kind of the us against the world kind of uh, attitude where as long as you have each other, you're good type of
Yeah.
thing. And then when you have the child, that kind of seals it. That's kind of the final stamp on the bond between the two of you as you've come together to create a new life form out of the two of you.
Yeah, I kind of like it for like a closing scene. I kind of see myself maybe, maybe a year later, um, One Fang just putting the baby down, going into the room, climbing into bed with Agnes, and as they're laying there, almost themselves, they kind of like are just talking about the day as they normally would, whispering so as not to wake the baby. And they turn and they're like, One Fang whispers to her, he's like, "So, Curious Mind is still asking about us to find her a mate." And then Agnes kind of giggles a little bit, and then like the baby cries, and then I just smile and get up and go back and get the baby.
And with a Seinfeld bass kind of will kind of seal this kind of a storybook ending thing there. And that is the end of Sveriges Elite.
Oh,
And
I have more.
how dare you? Okay, go ahead.
No, the part that I did before, that was just the interlude to what you were talking about before the other was. But this is gonna be brief. Anyways, uh, the scene is gonna zoom in, and the camera strolls around Red Claw in that newly planted forest. They're just little saplings that just come up, just little tiny saplings, and there'll be a bunch of red talons and war hearts around her, and she'll be swinging this big ass sword around, this great sword, Conan style. And then you'll have the red talons clumsily learning how to use these weapons as well as she begins to wield them. And scenes sort of flip around, and we see her now in the town in her human form as she begins to take on more of a social role in this community. Actually, she participates a lot more. She, in fact, begins organizing a few things more. She's taking more part into the community now, and finding out a little bit more about herself. And then we see her a little bit more decorated, maybe with a few more bones and other odd accoutrements adorning her body as she sits there, probably on a ledge. There's like a moonlight and stuff shining overhead, and she thinks about all the way back to that day in that pit where Pure Love was talking about how the humans might cause an apocalypse, how they might cause the end times. And she looks up upon that waning moon, that bright, beautiful object of the sky, and she says to herself under her breath, with Ida Drake by her side, "It doesn't matter. If such a time were to come, we would unite once more and defeat it." With her hand on her sword hilt, as she looks up and then lets out a howl into the night. And the camera pans up to those stars.
And then we get our Seinfeld. No. Okay, that's where Sveriges Elite ends, and we leave it at a spot where we'll be able to pick up the same characters if we wish to play another campaign. That would feel definitely different with all the characters being more mature and being more kind of through a very clear stage in their lives as they've taken on responsibilities and many things have changed and they've climbed up the ranks and there's things to kind of experience, the red talons and different kind of places you haven't been to, like the city of Lund is still completely untapped, and the other packs haven't been interacted with all that much. And there's all sorts of potential for another campaign one day in the future. Whatever future will hold, we'll see. But for all of you watching, first of all, I want to say thank you for sticking with the campaign all the way to this point. And I watched the first prelude session had at this point, over 1,000 views, and the next one after that had more than 600. So. Over half of the people who just clicked out of curiosity for the first video kind of stuck with it further down. So I'm very grateful and very glad to see everybody has kind of enjoyed following our campaign. And we're going to still have a post-campaign hangout where the four of us are going to chit-chat and talk about the campaign and all that stuff, just kind of bullshitting around, having a few drinks and whatnot, and we would very much like to hear your questions or talking points that you would like to for us to tackle and answer. So write down questions or talking points or anything that you would want us to explain or expand on or anything of that sort. In the comment section. So I can promise that we'll try our best to get as many questions as possible if there's a huge flood of them. But with this, and if you want to ask questions after that Hangout video is already posted, I will try my best to answer them with reply comments. So yeah, we'll still have that, and thanks, of course, to my players for being with me this whole time, and it's been great fun. So yeah, onward to the next project then. I'll end the broadcast here as.
Oh wait. Let's do a preview of the next one that's coming.
Oh, okay. Well.
In a city surrounded by darkness.
Yeah, we're going to be playing DC Adventures next, and it's going to be the same group as here, except with one addition, and that addition is the gentle yet manly gamer. The gentleman gamer, Matthew, will be joining us as one of our players in that campaign. It'll be something. Superhero action! Bam!
Smash!
Yeah. And now I'm going to end the broadcast. Bye!